My God, I just went on Twitter for a second. Why did I do that?
No, I'm. Oh yeah, you just look at my
I'm
Twitter
out. I'm
today.
done.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to close this. Yeah, it's been a fun day on Twitter, but I'm not even going into that. You
Why are
both
you
know
guys?
what.
Why are you guys getting so much hate? I don't get this. Like, okay, like you might have a take on Doctor Who or whatever that people disagree with, but like, do they need to like make it that personal?
They really do.
Yeah.
Part of it, one of the biggest criticisms, well, they don't have any. So they come out and say, I mean, the one thing the critical drinker is very good at is explaining his arguments and why he doesn't like something. I like to think I'm somewhat good at, but not as good as him. Bolstrek is great at it too. But one of the worst criticism I see towards us is we don't have any valid arguments for the show. I'm sorry, the writing isn't very good. That's a valid argument, and I could point out moment after moment in any episode of current Doctor Who where the writing doesn't establish a character, doesn't make a believable situation that I buy into. I have always said, and I'll always say, I wasn't for the female Doctor at all, but good writing can convince me of anything. When I went into The Witcher, and I know we feel differently about this, critical drinker, but I like The Witcher despite its flaws because I like the characters in it. They made some characters that I bought into, so I generally liked the show.
I agree with you on that one. Like, I don't know what you took from my review, but like when I was talking about it, like my overall take was like, okay, it's got some problems in terms of like the chronology of how they tell the story. I think it's a little bit overcomplicated. I think the world building isn't very good to begin with, but like I like the characters, and I think the show's got a lot of potential. That was my overall opinion of it.
I think it came together in the end a little bit. It was complicated though, and if you watch just because after I saw the first episode, I thought it was going to suck. I'm like, good damn, because the first episode is not great. I mean, Henry Cavill's great in it, but we had that little girl doing that. I want more from life, and that was just like, oh my god, this is going to be just woke trash. But yeah, maybe we saw it the same way. I'll have to watch your review again. I watched it, but like if you actually watch what the biggest problem is people aren't watching our videos. They're not. I mean, if they did, you could certainly poke holes in my arguments all day long. But when you get personal, like Critical Drinker said, and listen, I've gotten emails saying horrible things about my kids because I'm, that stuff's and especially with Bolstrek got something recently that was really horrible. People we're just criticizing a TV show. That's all it is. Have some perspective on life.
Yeah, like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, I mean, I know everyone watching this chat is probably like friendly to us anyway. But yeah, like we're just criticizing media. Like, we don't hate anyone like this involved in this stuff, but sometimes, the way things are put together isn't very good, and it's a good thing to call it out and get people to think about it. That's what we're trying to do ultimately, and we're not doing it maliciously or with like horrible motives. We're not horrific people or anything like that. I'm sure we're all like in real life we're nice enough folk who've got families and friends and everything like that. That's what we do. This is just a little thing that we're interested in and that we're passionate about. And I guess the same thing applies to us in some ways. Like, people who love who love the current incarnation of Doctor Who or love Star Trek Discovery or Star Wars or whatever, like, we don't hate those people for liking those things. And I would be happy to have a sensible discussion with any of those people and get their thoughts on it if they were willing to be civil about it. But the only time I have an issue is when people are just blindly following something because they refuse to see any other perspective, or they refuse to listen to any kind of criticism. That's when I have an issue with people like that, because it's like you're not even entertaining the notion of a different point of view.
No, it's one point of view and one point of view only. And I know that they don't actually watch our videos because, and I could use my review of, well, the last episode as a perfect example. And they love calling me the R word and the S word. even though in my last review, I said the race of the individual had no bearing on me. I praised the person's performance. I go after agendas, and we have proof that there are agendas because the people involved with, well, all three of these franchises, but especially Doctor Who, have blatantly said this is what we're doing. And the funniest example I have is it was kind of the channel that made my, or the video that made my channel explode back in 2017, and it was actually probably the most hate I've gotten until this week, where I did a video called "Is Doctor Who Becoming a PR Disaster?" And it was a video that I'd put up just when I was a little channel. It sat at like 300 views and then suddenly went viral over the course of the weekend. So that's where this whole Bulls Trek is a sexist thing came from. And I can tell that none of them actually watched the video. And back then I wasn't aggressive in my videos like I am now. I had a very monotoned approach because I was trying to be as non-offensive as possible. And the whole premise of that video was if they wanted to go about changing the gender of the Doctor, then there was a way they could have gone about doing it that wouldn't have alienated people. So the whole video was primarily a hypothetical scenario where I'm saying, okay, if you want to change the Doctor, I used Olivia Colman as an example of somebody who could play the Doctor. So I'm not even throwing off the idea of casting a woman. I'm just saying you guys are going about this the wrong way. This would, if you wanted to do this, this is how you should have gone about doing it. And ever since then, I've been a sexist bastard. So I know they don't watch the videos. And I often say, and I've been doing it a lot lately, where if you like these shows, I'm perfectly fine with that. If you like Star Trek Discovery, if you like the 13th Doctor, and if you like Star Trek Picard, I'm perfectly happy for you. And there are a lot of people that and one thing I have been making clear a lot lately as well, it's not like it's everybody that likes the current iteration of Doctor Who that's going after us. It's only really a small number of a few hundred people at most that are going after us, but they are the most vocal. But if you like the 13th Doctor, I'm perfectly happy with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I've said before, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil films. I know they are complete crap. I will admit they are complete crap, but for me, it's a guilty pleasure. And I've never gone after somebody for saying, oh, the Resident Evil movies are shit. And I've never gone after them and said, well, you don't like a franchise headed up by a strong female character, so you must be a sexist bastard. And then we pull out of examples where one thing, and I know, Gary, you're like this as well, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I've watched those 7 seasons more times than I can count. And every time I even bring up things like that, it's like, oh, well, no, you're just pulling examples out of your ass. You hate women. You hate everyone. And then, although this week it's been over the top, and then I'm not going to repeat what it was on the stream, but the nastiest attack I've ever had where what they actually did in this case was illegal, but it was the nastiest attack. So today kind of came to a head. And it's, and it's the same thing. What do? We criticize TV shows, and it's not like the three of us, spend all day just, oh my God, what have they done to Doctor Who? And that's all we think about. I'm like, we all have lives. We have families. This is not what we do. We criticize a TV show, and there was a time only a few years ago where that was perfectly acceptable. And when we used to criticize something like Doctor Who, we would have infights, but it wouldn't be resorting to the names that we're called now. It's, we don't like this era, we prefer this era. I've always said that until the 13th Doctor, I think Doctor Who season 24 is the worst thing ever expelled from the anus of Doctor Who. And I used to get in arguments about that, but it wasn't because I was sexist. It's because we had different opinions. A lot of people, and many people that I'm friends with, hate the Colin Baker era. I've always enjoyed the Colin Baker era, and I see where they were going with that.
Yep.
So we used to have normal discussions about that, but we can't have those normal discussions now.
Well, I think it's because, the element of sort of everything being politically charged, it adds that extra like that emotional element to things for people. So you're not just debating a show anymore, you're debating an entire philosophy on the world and life. And so people treat it as if it's that, and it's like a matter of life or death for them. And honestly, like, I would be happy to have someone who loves Doctor Who, you know, the current incarnation, or who loves The Last Jedi or whatever, to come onto this stream and talk to us and have a reasonable discussion with them. If they were willing to be civil, I'd be like, yeah, more than happy to like listen to your point of view on this and give you my perspective. But with people like that, I find it's very rare that you get someone like that. Most of the time it is, this is amazing and it's stunning and brave, and if you don't agree with me, then you're a racist or you're sexist or whatever it might be. And you can't have a discussion with a person like that because there's no common ground. There's no kind of common understanding of how you're going to discuss things. It's like, you either agree with me or you're wrong.
Yeah,
and there are people out there that are 13th Doctor fans, but civilized people that, you know, would love to, and I'm sure, you know, we've all received messages like this, who would love to talk about it, but they are concerned with the backlash or what, because they see what happened. Like in the case of me, and this came up with another YouTuber who we do have some different opinions on the 13th Doctor, but I've been watching this YouTuber for years. You know, we exchange tweets on Twitter. You know, he's a great guy. We get along, and just by mentioning me or even being related to me, there was a, not related, you know, but you know, actually communicating with me in a civilized way. Then they tried to cancel this individual earlier this week. So a lot of people don't want to come out because they see what's happening to us. And just by talking to me, even if it's in a civilized way, even if we have a friendly exchange, which I was still having up until a little over a year ago, then you are lumped in with the rest of us. So they don't even want anybody from their side to have a discussion with us. The most they will do, there are some YouTubers that are against this. They don't know Doctor Who that well. And one who I won't mention his name, but he's also a friend, was completely hoodwinked by one of these people a year ago. And it was turned into, I don't know what you call it, an exposure piece or something like that. But we can't have a civilized discussion. I have discussions with people on Twitter just on a one-on-one basis in DMs, because that's as far as they want to go. They don't want to publicly come out and even debate with us. So we are scum. And I think it was one, there was one tweet though that came out this week that I actually had a good laugh at. This I won't mention, I don't mention names, but this Twitter user actually was the meme, has purple hair and has been spamming the hell out of my Twitter along with a couple hundred other people. And if you remember a few days ago, I set out tweets. So I was retweeting people's Doctor Who videos. So I had you in there, Gary. I had Drinker, Doomcock, TARDIS Zone, Blue Bonnet Whovian, and the response was, "Yeah, you're tweeting your only friends, the only people that will watch it. Nobody watches you guys." And then I'm thinking, okay, so the people that I've mentioned, and then if you factor in me, total combined subscriber base is just under 750,000 people. And yet nobody watches us. We're just irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously just trying to discount you as if, like, you know, your opinion means nothing on this one. Like, when I made Doctor Who videos, you know, I had no idea how well they would be received. Like, it could have been that, you know, I'd get like a quarter of what I normally did, but like the Orphan 55 video had like 320,000 views or whatever. You know, people obviously respond to it because there's a lot of people that feel the same way.
Yep.
You know, and that number is way over like what my actual number of subscribers is. You know, these are people who just are fans of Doctor Who and don't like the way it's going.
Yeah, and your video went viral, so it was obviously picked up in the recommended feeds. And this is not the, you know, the whatever they characterize the Not My Doctors as, which would be, you know, a lot of us. But yeah, your video, as most of your videos do, it ended up going viral. So the people that are watching your video are people that are going on to YouTube searching Doctor Who, Jodie Whittaker, whatever. So the response on your videos, this is the response coming from the general population. They're not our followers. They're people that are just coming across the video. And I'm sure if you look at your dislike ratio in that video, I guarantee the like ratio is well over 95%, if not higher.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing. Like, obviously, there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way, and it's like when someone, all it takes is a few people to kind of bring the subject up, and it kind of opens the floodgates. And I think you should be able to talk about stuff like this. I think it's really sad what you were describing, where people want to have a civilized discussion with you about the problems of Doctor Who, but they feel like they can't do it because they're going to get ostracized by their friends, just for talking to you. It's like, what the fuck have you become? If that's what the fandom is, if that's their attitude, that's bullshit. Like, it's pathetic.
It is, and it's the reason YouTube has become a place where people can come and talk about that stuff, because they haven't been able to. Comment sections were shut down on websites. You're being Facebook, and really the correlation is the same. When Facebook groups started shutting down, and it started shutting down civil discourse based on a few there's trolls everywhere on both sides, bad actors everywhere on both sides, but it started shutting down any kind of discourse at all. And that was the main reason my channel even started taking off, was when I stopped riding the fence and I finally got pissed off enough about Doctor Who. Because even after Jodie was announced, I'm like, I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait until she's on the screen, and then I'll make my judgment. And I was about 3 episodes in, and after I saw Rosa, that was it. I mean, that's all I needed. And that's where people more, because the dislike ratio of my videos was horrible before that. And then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden more and more people came in, and they just needed a place to go and talk about it and vent. And that's it. And then they go about their day. And now we're being conflated into all this other political garbage that Bullstrek and I never bring up politics on my channel. I don't bring it up on my Twitter. I don't bring it up in Facebook. I just want to talk about entertainment. And I don't like, and I'm not saying I disagree with some of these politics. It's just, it's not politics. It's ideology. It is this political correctness that, just being entrenched, that feeling like you're right all the time. And if you're not on this side, then you're an ist or a phobe. And I just had enough of it.
Can't you see it too? There's an elephant in the room.